Hey everyone, it is Tanya. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new here. Today I am back with another speed build, and this is going to be a community lot. Both functionally and technically it's a community lot. I am setting this as a cafe lot type, but there's also an apartment above for the sim who does decide to run this business. Technically they can't rent it out, but if they own this business, they can just stay on the lot forever and live upstairs. So that was the idea behind it. I've had a ton of suggestions over the years to do a cafe with an apartment above it, and I've done it before, but it's been years. So I was really excited to do this. I hope you enjoy it. If you do, you can download this build off of the Sims 4 gallery. You can find it under my EA ID, which is Gryphi, Gryphi. You could also find it under the hashtag Gryphi, and that information will also be in the description down below as well. I'm actually building this lot in Copperdale in this sort of downtownish area. And I didn't start building it here. My first thought was actually Terrace, and I spent a good hour trying to build it there, and I wasn't liking how it was coming out. So I ended up scrapping it and moving here, and I am so glad I did because I'm so proud of how this build came out. And actually, it was inspired by a game I've been playing lately. So I'm really excited to share that Love and Pies is sponsoring today's video. In this free-to-download game, Amelia Green and her daughter Kate leave the city to move to the countryside to help out with their family cafe. But when they get there, the cafe is on fire and Amelia's mom is missing. So it's entirely up to Amelia to keep the business afloat. The place is torn down, so we get to build it up by merging items to serve customers and earning coins that way to go ahead and fix up the cafe. You can actually customize the space however you'd like using the coins you earn, and that's definitely my favorite part of the game. But make sure to watch out for the rival cafe in town and Amelia's ex-boyfriend, who seems very eager to spend time with her. So if you'd like to explore the mystery of where Amelia's mom went and build up a thriving cafe business, you can download Love and Pies now for free by clicking the link in my description or scanning the QR code on screen now. I really think you're going to enjoy this game, so thank you so much to Love and Pies for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back to it. So just finishing up the exterior shape, sort of. There's going to be another bump out on the other side, but this is where I have a pretty good grasp on what the exterior is going to look like. I'm adding a bunch of columns to shape this area, and I really wanted to have a second door that led to a staircase, so the staircase to the apartment was on the inside, and I really like how that came out. I think the upstairs apartment is really fun, so I'm excited for you to see that, but we're not going to be working on that until the interior cafe is done, and the color scheme I went with is so different than things I've done before. Because I tend to go a little bit more industrial, and I started going that way at first on the interior, and I guess it has some industrial elements, but it is so cute. It feels kind of retro, and there's a lot of browns and reds. I was really inspired by that little awning I put on the front of the building, so I decided to bring in a lot of those reds to the inside. The upstairs apartment is very colorful, but it's not like red like downstairs because I didn't feel like they needed to have their business and their home be the same color scheme. So I just played around with color and had a lot of fun with that space. But yeah, just adding some more windows on this little bump out and lots of flowers and trying to figure out where I'm going to have the bathrooms, what the floor plan is going to be like inside, because I wanted this to be functional and realistic and have plenty of space for your Sims to actually utilize the space. Especially if they are deciding to just come visit the cafe. They are not the owner of it. So I just wanted downstairs to be plenty spacious and laid out nicely. But I had so much fun on the exterior. We are working on some planters now. I started by placing these ones down, which are in debug from high school years. And I think the ones I ended up using in the end are also from that debug catalog, as are these fence pieces, which makes sense since I am building in the world of Copperdale, which comes with that pack. So I'm just playing around with that, but I decided the brown ones blended into the floor a little bit too much, and I decided I wanted more contrast, like a brighter color, like the whites that I have on the windows and the flower boxes. So I will be changing to that momentarily. These ones right here, I saw them and I was like, oh wait, these are better. I like the other ones too. I feel like either of them could have worked, but I was excited to change over to these, and I ended up getting some smaller versions as well to put some trees in. Since this is not a lot that has grass on it, I thought it made sense to have some like boxes to grow some other plants out of to add a little bit of life. And I tried a couple of different trees, but I ended up going with this base game one in the end because I just think it worked the best. It was wider, and it was also a tree I was seeing a ton of in this particular area. That's one of my favorite ways to landscape, is to look what's off lot in that area to try and blend it in as best as possible. I also ended up using these tables with umbrellas that matched the same sort of color scheme as those awnings with the white and the red. I think that looks so, so cute. And then we are going inside to start to work on the floor plan. And this is when I decided I was going to have bathrooms in the back here. And I actually make it a little bit smaller. At first, I end up having 2 stalls, but I end up changing that and there's just going to be 1 because I wanted there to be a little bit more space in the cafe area. But I think that's fine as long as there's a spot for your Sims to use the bathroom. And then, of course, the Sim that lives here can also use the one upstairs. But you're probably going to want to lock some doors so that no customers head up there. But that's up to you and how you'd like to play. That could be interesting storytelling, perhaps. Anyway, getting a trash can inside and starting to play around with what I would like for the walls and the floors. I started with this black tile and bringing in this brick, and I do end up keeping the brick in the end because it's on the exterior, and so I thought it looked nice on the interior, but I try many different things before we return to the brick, and it's a whole process, so I'm hoping you enjoy seeing that since I couldn't make up my mind on what color, what texture, all of that I wanted in this space. But I did end up using these chairs from the Paranormal pack paired with these tables from Get Together. I think these chairs are perfect, and they're going to be even more perfect in a little while when I decide to change the swatch of them so that they are brown and red instead of just brown. Oh, it's so good. I'm very happy with it. Here you can see I changed the background behind, like the wall behind here to be red, and then I was like, oh, I feel like this needs a little bit more space. Let's move the bathroom back ever so slightly. I tried some tiles back here. The brick is actually not going to be behind there. It's just in a couple of other spots throughout here. My mistake. I go back to it a few times though. I'm pretty sure what I ended up with the subway tiles back here, which I thought was nice. It brightened up the space, and then I was able to just add a bunch of pops of red throughout. So the espresso machine is red. I end up having some lights hanging over the space that are red and lots of just like little decorations. I love the pops of color in here. And I think it works really well with the brick that I have in a couple of different spaces. So yeah, I'm just grabbing some items now and trying to figure out how I want to clutter up these open shelves. I put lots of plates and cups and stuff up here. I have, I think, a couple of like tea makers and things like that, and books and tons of coffee bags. There is a debug item that is a coffee bag. Your Sims will pull it out when they're making coffee to like pour it in the top of the pot. And you can access that in the debug catalog. So I used a ton of those on the top shelf. I thought it was pretty realistic, not only to have like extras for the cafe, but if Sims wanted to like purchase a full bag of coffee, a lot of coffee shops offer that. It's not actually going to work like that in The Sims. So it's just pure decoration, but I liked the idea of it and making the space look as realistic as possible. So just individually placing those now using move objects. And I was really happy with this. I think it looks really cute. I love all of the clutter, but it still feels clean and organized, which is what I was going for. And I am just moving around like this little tray of pastries, and I put the like syrups and stuff that came, or not syrups, what would you call those? Like the jam and fruit and whipped cream and stuff that came with the, oh goodness, the Home Chef Hustle pack. I thought it made sense to have that near all of the pastries, maybe some of the stuff they add extra bits on top of. We have the little bread up here. I put it on top of that pedestal that came with the Party Essentials kit, but there's a glitch with that one where whatever's put on top of it disappears, so I eventually just get rid of that in the end. I thought it was a cute idea, but it didn't want to stay. And then those were the lights that I added, and not only are they over the bar area or the like cafe barista area, but I do end up adding them over most of the tables as well, so you'll see that momentarily. But these are the curtains I chose from high school years, and then we are changing the swatch of the chairs, and this is when I feel like this room really starts coming together. I love the pops of red. It's not something I do that often just because red is such a stark color, and I was really happy with it. Actually, I had a comment on a recent video asking if I could return to the Color Drench series, and I'm not sure when this video is coming out in regards to that, but I'm thinking about doing that sometime soon, and I don't remember which colors I have or haven't done. I know I did blue and yellow and orange. I don't know if I've done red or green or pink. I'm not sure. I'm going to look through them, but I think the Color Drench series is coming back. Whether it's before or after this video, I hope you're looking forward to that. And regardless of which, what color would you like me to see build an apartment that has like majority one color and try and make it look as nice as possible? Not like the single color or one color challenge. What is the name of that? Solid color challenge, where things look a little bit silly. I try and make it look like elevated. So like I'm technically allowed to use other colors, but it's primarily one. So I would like to do some more of that. But anyway, this is the tiled floor I had mentioned. I think it looks so nice. The cream and the brown. I'm adding in some plants. I love the coffee and tea like decals I have around the space. We have a couple of menus throughout, a place to hang up your coat. I ended up getting another of this menu over by the door and some aprons. I think I get temperature controls and a fire alarm in here. We're getting the open sign in the window, which I think is so nice. That is from Get to Work. I believe we got that because of the retail stores that you could open. And then I decided I wanted a little rug in front where you would probably be standing to place your order just for a little bit more decoration. And a little sign over the trash can. That's actually something that came in an update sometime last year, I'm pretty sure. We got a bunch of like community lot decals like trash can and bathroom and wash your hands and arrows and stuff to pointing to different areas. And I find those very useful. So I was excited to add that because it's sometimes difficult to figure out what to hang on the walls in a community lot. So I quite enjoyed that. And then I'm just adding some plants and some stems on most of the tables and just that little extra bit of detail to make the space feel finished and complete. I also added another decal over on this wall just to fill up the wall space. And then we are starting to head upstairs where I have to figure out the floor plan because I really want to add platforms up here because of how tall the windows are. Since the top floor is tall wall height to make the exterior look the way I wanted it to. So I was not entirely sure how I was going to make this work, but I figured it out in the end. So you enter upstairs and you go immediately up the stairs. And then when you get up there, you're on a little landing where you can go up a few more stairs to the main living area, or there's a door to the bathroom. And then from the main living area, you're going to be in like the dining and kitchen space. And then the living room is further back and the bedroom is going to be in the front of the build where I'm blocking that off right now. So it's just a 1-bedroom apartment upstairs, but I think it's a really cute one. I love the idea of having this as your Sims residence. You could probably actually, if you didn't want your Sims to have this as a cafe and you wanted your Sims to actually live above it, you could set this as a residential rental, I'm pretty sure, and just have the cafe space downstairs as a like communal space. Or what is it called with the residential rentals? Shared space, I think. So you could do that if you'd like to, but I was imagining it was a cafe that you could like own and run. I thought that was a cute idea. Although I don't think your Sims can run it. Anyway, that was the whole idea behind it. You could probably turn it into a restaurant or something like that. Anyway, outside I added a mailbox outside of the front door for the apartments. I also added a couple of front door welcome mats. And I thought it would be really cute to have some like twinkle lights out here, some string lights. So just wrapping those around now to get some nice like nighttime lighting. Also, I skipped over it, but I did add some other outdoor lighting here at some point. And also the lot you might notice is backwards. When I was building it, the lighting was just really horrible on the front of the lot. So I did swap it around. But towards the end, I do move it back to its proper orientation on the lot. And it is uploaded to the gallery as it's being placed correctly. So no worries on that. But working on the bathroom now, this room ends up being pretty simple. I'm pretty sure I bring the brick in here just to add a little bit more color because it felt so sterile. And I guess that's good for a bathroom, but it didn't feel like it fit. So I'm just getting a sink in here, paper towel dispenser and like soap dispenser and a couple of decals in here as well just to spruce up the space. And a couple of flowers, and that should be it for the bathroom. And then we are finally actually going to decorate upstairs where I am adding the curtains into the like staircase area. And then we are working on the kitchen using the same cabinetry that I have downstairs. I thought that made sense. And then trying so many different ovens because I wanted one that had a back lip because of the counters I had. But obviously the only one that matches this fridge is the one from the same pack, Home Chef Hustle. And it doesn't have a lip. So I decided to just kind of shove all of the counters into the wall. And that was my solution to that so that it made more sense. And then I'm bringing the same tile from downstairs into the kitchen space and figuring out curtains. I thought I was going to use the red ones at first, but I really didn't like them. But first I placed them everywhere. And then I realized that they didn't really fit. And I was trying too hard to make the red come upstairs when I don't think that's the most realistic. Just because that's the color scheme of the cafe downstairs doesn't mean that the resident up here has to have that. So it ends up being more like oranges and blues up here and I think some green. I just played around with a few different couches and I picked one out in the end that I thought worked the best. And it ended up being this one from Growing Together. And I was able to pair it with the Love Seat from the Crystal Creation stuff pack. And they just worked so nicely together. It really brings out the colors in the kitchen tile. And I was thrilled with it. I think this is a really fun color scheme that I'll probably revisit at some point, but obviously it does not match downstairs. Let me know if you like that or if you feel like it should have matched, because I don't think necessarily your business has to match your personal home style. Whereas on the other hand, like when I decorate a house, I feel like the parents' bedroom or the primary bedroom matches the rest of the house, but like the kids' rooms don't have to. But I think you can have a different style for your business than you do for your personal space. Anyway, this is the rug I ended up choosing. I think it's really pretty. It brings out those colors. And then the love seat. It's so pretty. It has this really dark blue swatch, which I thought was perfect. I also got a gorgeous plant over in the corner, and we'll get some artwork up above that. And using a lot of growing together in here. I just think that's a really nice pack. And then I enjoyed these orange curtains that I'm using in this space as well, which I think are from Eco Lifestyle, maybe. But these are some bookcases I decided to have across this wall as our TV stand. It just filled in the space nicely, and I don't do that too often. I do use those bookcases a lot, but it's usually as bookcases, not as like a stand for something. I also added the globe bar over here. It just felt like it fit the theme, and a couple of decorations on the walls, including a clock, and then just changing the swatch here of this to a more orangey red color to match the curtains a little bit better. And I think this window ends up with some blinds on it in addition to curtains, but the other ones don't. I just thought it looked nice in this space, so playing around with that now, trying to figure out which one to put. And that should be mostly it for the living room. I'm going to paint the walls and add a little tray to the table, the one from Paranormal Stuff that has the teapot on it. I think it is so, so pretty. There's a couple of nods to like tea and coffee up here, but not a ton because, yes, that's their whole career downstairs, but I didn't think it needed to be like over the top up here. So there's a teapot there. I believe I put a coffee machine somewhere in the kitchen, and I believe there's a coffee pot, not a coffee cup, a coffee cup by their bedside table. So you'll see that when we get into there. But this is our dining table using the same chairs from downstairs, but more of this like maroon color, which I think is really pretty. And then, of course, getting a coat rack and a mirror right by the stairs before you head downstairs. Because I imagine you're probably getting ready up here and you're just running downstairs to leave. So I didn't really put any decorations down there. I thought that that made the most sense. But you could definitely add some if you would prefer. There's the coffee pot I had mentioned. Also getting a dishwasher in here, and the cutting boards are in here, some plants, all of that. I also put a dish drying rack because I feel like that's pretty realistic. Even if you have a dishwasher, there's some things you're going to hand wash or like are necessary to hand wash. I know the main things in my household that we hand wash are our cast iron pots and pans and the cutting boards. So I think that's a realistic thing to have. And then this is the bathroom. I created like a sort of custom shower using a window and the wall mounted shower from Discovery University. And then I just have a simple toilet in here and using the same countertops that I use in the kitchen for the sink area. Got a little mirror here and a couple of decorations. It's a pretty simple bathroom, but it's slightly different than I normally do because it's a little bit longer. And I don't often do these custom showers, but they are nice every once in a while. And I thought it made the most sense here, especially because I didn't want it to be like a shower cubicle. I wanted it to look larger, but the shower tub combos that are in this game would have covered that window and that would have looked strange. So I decided to do this in the end. It's like kind of updated, but there's still more traditional elements in here. And then we are working on the final room of this build, which is the bedroom. I ended up using this bed from the City Living pack. I think it is so pretty. Every time I use it, I'm like, why don't I use this one more? I just really like 4-poster beds, and this one's really modern, and it looks so cozy with a big chunky knit blanket. I paired it with a bedside table from the For Rent pack. It matched perfectly. And then I'm just picking out some artwork to go above the bed. I'm pretty sure I went with one from Get Famous. Yeah, this one right here. I've always thought that this photo was just so beautiful. And then getting a couple of decorations for the bedside table. I got a few books over here, and I believe that little tray from the Everyday Clutter Kit that has like glasses and a place to put your watch and everything. And there's that coffee cup I had mentioned earlier on. I also got another mirror in here, the same one that I put in the entryway. And then, of course, a dresser in this space as well. Also from the For Rent pack, as it matches so nicely. Some colorful photos in here to really spruce up the space and match with the colorful vibe I have throughout the rest of the house. It brings in that orange as well that I've been really enjoying. And then, of course, a little jewelry box, or I guess it's kind of a big jewelry box, but I've been really enjoying putting that in builds ever since we got that with Crystal Creations. I think it's such a beautiful item. And with that, we are pretty much done with this build. Let me know what you thought of it. I had so much fun with this one. Just adding a few finishing touches here before we head on into screenshots. I really hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more, and click that bell to be notified when I upload. Also, thank you again to Love and Pies for sponsoring today's video. Make sure you click that link down below or scan the QR code on screen to download for free. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye, everyone.